Golden Horn wins the Dante in great style.
Will be back-to-back Yorkshire Cups for Stradivarius. And Hurricane Lane wins the Dante.
Racing is back on the Knavesmire for the Dante Festival. A meeting that showcases star sprinters.
The line is looming, and it's Starman who wins the Duke of York.
And ice-cool performances.
Snowfall is running on strongly all the way to the line here, and if anything, it's going to go further clear.
Where the turbo power kicks in.
Now Queen Power is living up to her name, goes up by 5, 6, 7 lengths here.
Where legends are made.
Roaring Lion outclasses them. Golden Horn beats Jack Hobbs, a 1-2 for John Gosden. It goes to Hurricane Lane, he wins the Dante.
And where old favourites return to duel on the Yorkshire turf.
Stradivarius hits all the right notes. Stradivarius, note perfect, wins his second Yorkshire Cup.
York is back.
Yes, York is very much back. Welcome everyone to our Dante Festival preview in association with Paddy Power. We're going to be previewing the key races each day, the feature race of each and every day of York's Dante meeting. We'll be out on track to say hello to Niall Hannity as well. We'll have some guests with him over the next 45 minutes or so. The man to my left is Dave Nevison. He's got some selections for you, but before we get stuck into those, the customary, how are you? How much are you looking forward to these 3 days? Such a good 3 days.
It really is. It's one of my favourite meetings of the year, without a doubt. I mean, we've got the Dante, we've got the Musidora, but we've got some cracking handicaps where generally we find out whether some of the older horses, you usually see a couple of lightly raced types that are basically running in a handicap before they go into group company. Doesn't always work out. But yeah, no, it's a fantastic meeting, and we're going to see a couple of Royal Ascot 2-year-olds. That's just a fact as well. So
I'm an absolute glutton for punishment when it comes to the sprint handicaps at York. I don't know what it is.
Well, yeah, you've got to be able to take your punishment because
I love them. I mean, the second race on the Wednesday afternoon is a 6-furlong sprint handicap. Yeah, fiendishly difficult, but I just want to play.
Well, I fancy one quite strongly in that. Okay. So I suppose I'm with you. We'll go off the same cliff, maybe. Yeah. But no, there is something for absolutely everybody.
What about the Dante itself, Dave? Where does it fit in the modern era amongst the best of the Derby trials for you?
Well, I think it is the best of the Derby trials. I think it's positioned to be such. I mean, there's an old school of thought that says the Guineas is the absolute Derby trial, but the Dante, I think, is the real Derby trial. It's just the right sort of distance. It's 2 weeks before the big race. I think it's it's history. We got the French Derby winner out of it last year. We've had Golden Horn. We've had Authorised this century. We've had horses like Roaring Lion, who are multiple Group 1 winners. So it's a Derby trial, but it can produce some seriously good horses.
Golden Horn, the last Dante winner to go on and take the Derby itself back in 2015, 7 years ago. What makes it really interesting this year, and we will come to our preview, but the Sir Michael Stout factor, who's run plenty of good... He's won it 6 times. He's run plenty of good horses in it. His workforce was beaten in it before taking the Derby. He's got Desert Crown in there, who is just an absolute could-be-anything mould.
Well, it could be anything. The one thing I will have a bet with anyone who wants to take it is I guarantee you that Desert Crown won't be 6-1 after the Dante. It'll either be 6-4 or 25-1, one of the two, but it won't be 6-1.
Well, hang on. What does he have to do to stay 6-1? If he wins, he shortens, no matter.
Yeah, exactly.
If he gets beaten for staying on, if he gets touched off for staying on,
then he becomes a 7-2 rival to the Aidan O'Brien favourite.
Yeah.
But he won't be 6-1.
I'm trying to find a way to take this bet. I want to take you on. Anyway, more from Dave very shortly. We're going to get out on track. I believe it's a lovely looking evening at York, and Niall Hannity is our man there. Hello, Niall.
First of 18 race meetings just around the corner. We're set. What do you call the ground? Good at the minute?
Yeah, we're good at the moment ahead of the Dante Festival. We've had a dry day today, and yeah, we're good ground at the moment. We'll just monitor conditions going through. There are a few showers about, sort of typical spring-like conditions. It's a nice sunny spell at the moment. There have been a few showers scuttling about, and it's that sort of forecast for the week ahead.
You pan down the track. It looks in fantastic condition. I've just spoke to Anthea, just her and her dog just walking off the track, but she was saying, she made a good point in April time to get the grass growing. You have been watering plenty for the last sort of 6-7 weeks, and you can sort of feel that in the ground.
Yeah, there's plenty of moisture in the profile. As you can see, it's a great cover of grass. We did a lot of work now last autumn. Adrian Kay led the team and did a lot of renovation work, really sort of stripping out all the thatch. It's come back really strongly, a lot of biomass on top of the racing surface, and you know, we're really pleased with it. We're monitoring conditions as we go through the week. We haven't had to irrigate going into the meeting, but whether we have to just keep it where we want to as we go through the week, we'll see what happens, whether we catch any of those showers, whether we don't, but we're pleased with it as we head into the meeting.
You mentioned showers. That's the forecast, that largely dry, but could catch a shower every day.
That's exactly it, and that's the pattern. Not particularly warm and a bit breezy, especially on Friday. I think there was a strong stiff westerly wind on Friday, so that'll be a crosswind as they come up the straight. But, you know, it's benign conditions. We're pleased with it. Obviously, the whole country could do with a sort of normal deluge, but we're not this week when we're racing.
Paddy Power, new sponsors, we're going to hear from them in due course. But I was watching something on social media. They were sort of having a go at your ground staff, saying, what do you do October time to tomorrow? Do you sort of put your feet up? None off it. They've been busy.
No, a huge amount of time, effort and investment by the racecourse under the leadership of Adrian Kay. Continue trying to improve the racing surface here on the Knavesmire. Done a huge amount of work, put in new drainage areas, new heads on the irrigation system. All this rail behind us up the canter down is brand new rail, state-of-the-art rail, which has a really good safety mechanism. If a horse went into it, it would just disappear, if you know what I mean. So it's continual investment in the racing surface. It's so important to us. It's our stage where our performers perform, and it's important to us that we give the best racing surface we can.
And I was reading, was over the winter, stable yard, new unloading bays for horses, etc.
Yeah, we've added a second unloading ramp down at the stable yard to ease sort of congestion around arrivals, the rush hour time in the stables. We've added 4 new horse showers to take us to, I think it's 17 horse showers, hot and cold water over there, 300 metres of soft tarmac that you find in a playground, and a new horse walk across from the stable yard to the racecourse proper, just to really ease and take away horses and vehicles and make the stable staff and the horses' life more pleasant when they come to visit York Racecourse.
So ahead of our 18 race meetings, what's York hoping for, aiming for? The dream for you is the Dante winner to go on to win the Derby. When the awards come out at the end of the season, you want the best horses in the world here, don't you?
Well, of course, you know, this meeting's all about attracting those really good prospects to then go on to perform at Epsom, at Royal Ascot, at Glorious Goodwood, Qatar Goodwood Festival, back here for the Ebor Festival. And that's what we want to do. Whether they win at Epsom, 10 horses have done the Dante Derby double, 7 fillies, Musidora Oaks. So, you know, that's nice. Obviously, Snowfall last year won the Musidora before going on to her hat-trick of Oaks victories, finishing off with the Darley Yorkshire Oaks here in August. So the late great Snowfall. And, you know, we want good fillies coming for the Tassels Musidora. Just we want those great colts, and it looks like we've got a mouth-watering lineup for the Albesti Equiworld Dubai Dante on Thursday.
Yeah, Dex, obviously, we're going to go through that in a bit more detail in due course. And Dex were done, obviously, this morning. Tomorrow we'll see the final decks for the Yorkshire Cup. Stradivarius, I believe, according to John Gosden, he's on course. And he must be a real crowd puller.
A real crowd puller for the Paddy Power Yorkshire Cup. He's won the race twice before. He's unbeaten on the Knavesmire, won 5 times. So I saw a picture of him and Frankie on Newmarket Heath the other day on social media. He looked $1 million as an 8-year-old. And over the weekend we saw a 19-year-old getting round at badminton horse trials. So not old in equine terms, maybe old in racing terms. It'll be interesting to see if he's still got that magic and that sparkle. Who certainly draw the crowd, and such a knowledgeable crowd at York, as we know. That was probably the race of the Ebor Festival last year. Spanish Mission and Stradivarius going toe-to-toe in the Weatherby's Hamilton Lonsdale Cup.
And you always see me, there's that bit, if you've backed him or you're supporting him, that you think, oh no, he's beat. Today he's beat. Doesn't he just go through, and then all of a sudden he comes back
he
on
got
and
it in his eye, and they went toe-to-toe, Yeah.
What else are you looking next couple of days? I read somewhere about syndicates. Is it Friday?
That's right. On Syndicate, a real day to demonstrate to people coming racing the joy of getting involved in owning a racehorse. We've got 16 syndicates demonstrating, exhibiting to racecourse goers. We've got some of their horses which will parade in the parade ring, and really whether you want to go in at a high level or a couple of quid a month, getting involved in ownership, that's what that's all about, and we'll have some people giving talks and demonstrations.
In the current climate, it's maybe going to go more like Australia, where the syndicates are going to get more and more popular.
Well, wasn't it great to see Cachet winning the 1,000 guineas the other day for the syndicate for Highclere? That was a wonderful. Yes, I think syndicate ownership's wonderful and adds another colour and dimension to racing. Obviously, we've got the royal patronage in the Dante, Highclere, another Highclere horse running.
A horse that you think could run well with his previous here on the Knavesmire.
I do think he's battle hardened, isn't he? He's won twice on the Knavesmire. He was always identified by Mark and Charlie as a 1.5 mile horse for the Derby very early on, and he won. He won a Group 1 at the end of last year and ran well in the 2,000 guineas. So he's coming up against some horses that haven't got that experience.
After the Dante 3 days, it's sort of get the track back in tip-top shape because you have an extra meeting having the Sky Bet Sunday Series 22nd.
That's right. We previously raced on Saturday the 21st of May, and that's a really successful, busy Saturday for us that we're really looking forward to staging the William Hill Bronte Cup. Yep. As the feature Group 3 on that day, and then the following day on Sunday the 22nd is our first Sky Bet Sunday Series race. We're really looking forward to that day. It'll be a great atmosphere on course. We've got a tribute act playing after racing. It's Racing UK Club Day, so if anyone wants to come and they're a subscriber, they can apply before Monday for a free ticket to come. 200 grand worth of prize money. We've seen lots of runners at Hamilton. Let's hope we see lots of runners, good competitive racing, and if people want to watch it, then it's a great thing to watch from home as well.
And you can't be resting on your laurels. Reading in the news, it was only today about Chester. They were down sort of 30-35% over their May festival. How's your ticket sales been holding up?
Yeah, well, it's a challenging time for all leisure venues. I think we've all seen what's going on in the news and the wider world. We're very aware of that. Ticket sales for this meeting, going into the meeting, are ahead of 2019, which we're pleased about. I think we're a couple of percent on the Wednesday, 6% on the Thursday, and 8% on the Friday. So we're going into the meeting ahead. However, on the day, sales are important composition. So tickets are available on all the days. You can go into the clock tower enclosure behind us with the nice forecast we have for £8, and obviously in the enclosures on stand side. So this is a nice meeting, isn't it? Great racing, not too big a crowds, a good atmosphere, real racing fans of the sport to see some fabulous racing and hopefully unearth some great horses for the season ahead. So we hope people can come. You don't have to pay a booking fee, you don't have to pay for parking, and even in County Sam we'll give you a race card when you come through the door. So
it's £8 in here, where you've done a lot of work over the clock.
Yeah. A couple of years ago we spent £5 million on this picnic enclosure with new toilets, new bars, new facilities. It's a great place to come racing just on the winning post on a nice sunny day. Bring the kids and the picnic or whatever. It's a good sort of starter. And so many people I meet say they started their racing experience at York in here, and they might be in a corporate box 10, 20 years later.
Super. William, thanks very much for the updates. We look forward to catching up with you early tomorrow ahead of what's going to be hopefully the first of 3 fantastic days.
Thanks, Niall. I hope people enjoy it.
You struggle not to enjoy it at that place. It is such a fabulous
it's going to have the weather as well. It'll have everything. Yeah. No, it's a brilliant meeting. Yeah. And it's not quite as crowded as the Ebor meeting as well, so it's which I'm sure they won't be as pleased as the people with a bit more space to move around, but it's a really good meeting.
You were just saying back in the day you had a tremendous strike rate at York, Dave.
Yeah. On and off the course. But it's not quite a watershed yet, is it? So you can see.
Oh, superb. But it is... It's a great place to go racing, and there have been some favourites turned over in the past, but look, we'll see what happens. Right, we want your favourite Dante memories, please. So let us know. Plenty of you have been in touch, plenty of same answers. Niall and Dave have got the same one, but get in touch with us however you want to. You can do it on Twitter, you can reply. We've got a live video for you on Twitter, which you can get up and reply to that there, and watch it back at any point as well. and let us know at studio@racingtv.com. My favourite Dante memory, I thought I'd try and look a bit outside the obvious, and it was Carlton House in the colours of Her Majesty the Queen. I guess the main reason was that after his win on second start as a juvenile, a friend and I decided that this horse was going to win the Derby, and that was it. So we backed him for this, and we backed him for the Derby. They went very slow here, and I know it wasn't the biggest field renewal, but I think the top three in the betting for the Derby were running here. And Carlton House just bided his time and sprinted clear, picked his way through. And there was something fantastic about having these colours carried to Derby favouritism off the back of this, and her having a live Derby candidate. Obviously we thought she was going to have one this year, but sadly it wasn't to be. It wasn't the greatest renewal of the race in the sense it wasn't the most amazing to watch, but it was more about the association I had with the horse, the fact that I thought he was going to go and win the Derby. He didn't. He finished third when Mikhail Barcelona stood up in the irons with Paul Moir. But at this point the dream was still alive, Dave.
Yeah, and at 3:45 Thursday afternoon, the dream will still be alive for something else. But yeah, as you say, that it might have been a good race, and the winner went on to the Derby, but it wasn't nearly as good as the one that we're going to see in a minute.
Go on, you straight into it.
It's authorised. I mean, we talked about Shahrastani, but authorised, just absolutely marmalised horses in. It already won the mile race at Doncaster, and then it came out.
The Racing Post Trophy.
Came out here, apparently half fit for this, and again, like your Carlton House, although they're in the middle of the track, just waiting for get the gap. The ground was a bit easier, and authorised was thought to be just a soft ground horse because he won 10 lengths at Doncaster.
Here, I'm going to throw a curveball in there. It was the Racing Post Trophy, but I think Donny was being relayed. It was at Newbury.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, it had won the
that race. Yeah.
But he just goes away from I think it's a horse called Raincoat.
Yeah, Raincoat.
It was a good horse, but I mean, what beats that in the Derby? And he won even further in the Derby under Frankie. And was it the one that Frankie broke his Derby duck on, or was his second Derby? But he'd been waiting around for a Derby for a long time. And perhaps a slightly.
No, did he not ride one in the late 90s?
I don't know if he's first or second, but
I think it was his second.
But it was one of those races where I had a big bet with Simon Clare from Corals. It was at the Breakfast of Champions or whatever it's called, Breakfast of the Stars.
Yeah.
In the days when I used to get invited to such jollies, but Simon Clare laid me a bet, and I took 11-10, and I think on the day of the Derby it touched 7-4 for some reason, but my money was already on.
You're right, it was his first one. I was thinking, for some reason, because he'd partnered up with Gosden, and it was Benny the Dip, but it wasn't, it was Willie Ryan.
That was Willie Ryan who got that one home by the shortest of margins.
Yeah,
but,
you're right.
But this authorised just absolutely bolted up in the Derby. Never, ever. You're in the payout queue after about 3 furlongs, and it's just fantastic watching a classic being won by just the best horse by miles of its generation.
Yeah, and I know you wanted Shahrastani as well, but we couldn't get that.
That was ancient history, and it shouldn't have won.
No, you're right.
It absolutely shouldn't have
done. Right, let's have a look at this year's field then for the Dante itself. So we know who's lining up. We've touched upon Desert Crown already. Once raced, has won that race, and now lines up in the Albasti Equiworld Dubai. Dante, Richard Kingscott 9-4. Magisterial, look very good at Leicester. Frankie Dettori 11-4. El Bodegon, Danny Muscat 100-30. Bluegrass, Ryan Moore 7-1. Royal Patronage, Jason Hart 10-1. Masakila 11s. 25s, White Wolf, King Max 33. Dark Moon Rising is 50-1. Let's start with Desert Crown then. Nottingham, back end of the year, that's where all the good ones go, Dave, and this horse looked particularly good.
Yeah, Sir Michael Stow and formerly trainers like Sir Henry Cecil, they've got absolutely no problems keeping horses back for the bottomless ground. Nottingham Maiden, the track obviously makes its appeal. It's a good test for a late maturing 2-year-old. And the horse was just singularly impressive at the end of November. But as to whether the form is brilliant, we don't actually know that much.
I think there'll be a lot of people, Dave, looking at this and thinking, oh yeah, he won really impressively at Nottingham, starting off in a Dante, Sir Michael Stout. He's as short as 7-1 for a Derby, something like that, and people will love him. But I feel like the accepted opinion is you can't make him a bet off the back of one run at 9-4 or whatever it is. You can't possibly say, yeah, he's a stealer, that he's a bet.
Well, he must have been doing something at home, because the horses here, El Bodegon's won the Grand Prix de Saint Cloud.
Yep.
We've got a horse who beat the horse who's won the Guineas in the Royal Lodge. Mm-hmm. He's 14-1 in a place. I think he's a general 10-1, and that's Royal Patronage. And yet we've got a maiden winner as 9-4. I don't get it. I mean, I tend to do my money in handicaps, and I don't bet in these races generally nowadays. I've toned it down a bit, and I go into I look at handicaps. But the reason I don't is that I call them large P races, because I've always been a habitual Timeform user, and there's usually so many horses that are set to improve. Some of them don't. Some of them improve at vastly different rates to others. So I don't know where I am. But with a 6-year-old handicapper, I tend to know. So I'm fascinated by markets, always have been. But I do not understand why it's 9-4. Well, I wouldn't be tempted to back it at 9-4. I do understand why it's 9-4, because it was an impressive maiden winner for Sir Michael Stout.
All right, well, Magisterial has won 2 races. Why is he bigger in the market? Is it because he's been beaten? He got beaten at Newmarket on debut. Is that the reason? Because I thought he looked pretty impressive when winning on reappearance.
He did, and John Gosden wouldn't be worried about a horse getting beaten the first time out. They're not always wound up, especially the later maturing types. He'll definitely get the trip. He's done really well to win a maiden, and then this race from an extremely well thought of Godolphin horse who was making his debut. But it's a similar story. You know, he's got more experience than the favourite, but we don't actually know. Has anything come out of that race since?
Of the Leicester race?
Hasn't done anything, no. Crystal Delight got beat again. The horse that was third from the same in the same ownership. But no, I think given that we've got top class form in this race, it's quite strange that we've got 2 lightly raced, 1 very lightly raced horses. What is it, 5-2 joints? So it's odds on the pair winning.
The second has come out of the Haydock race at the back end of last year, Magisterials, and won. Are you surprised that an Aidan O'Brien horse would be as big as he is in the betting, 4th in the betting, or is it, at least I suppose he's tried Group Company, but the trouble is he's come up short. He's
been beaten twice in Group 3s, 4th, not even placed. And the strength in depth, obviously we've got the current favourite for the Derby from Aidan O'Brien's yard, which is absolutely no surprise, even though Luxembourg's gone. It would be very interesting and very demoralising for the English challengers if the Aidan O'Brien horse came and won the Dante.
I agree with that. So, given his profile,
he looks one of the 6th or 7th strings. But we'll see, he might be good enough. It'd be disappointing if he is.
Powder dry for you in this race?
It is anyway.
Okay.
That's a given. I will have loads of bet at York, but they won't be in this trials races.
OK, well, a man that's hot-footed it from Beverley to York is Jason Hart. He's been in good form of late as well, and he's got a big ride on Royal Patronage in the feature of the meeting. He's with Niall.
Stop being nice to him, Tom. He can't even hear you anyway. Tom Stanley said he doesn't really rate you as a jockey. You're grossly overrated.
Fair play, Tom.
Good judge, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
You're the first to say it. How's things?
All good.
No winners at Beverley again?
No winners at Beverley again.
Yeah. Okay, any good winners tomorrow? You got 4 rides tomorrow. Obviously, we're going to come to Royal Patronage and the Dante Thirsty horse that obviously was good to you last year here in the Acom, and we knew what happened at Newmarket as well. Tomorrow, best ride Highfield Princess?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Obviously, dropping back down to sprinting.
Why is that?
Well, she has always shown a lot of speed. We ran her in the Champion Sprint last year at the end of the year, and she wasn't disgraced. I thought she ran a really good race that day. I thought even at Newcastle last time she did show a lot of speed to get herself into the race, and she quickened up well. And the boss even tried her over 5. I know that was probably more to get her qualified for the finals day, and it was probably a plan well executed by him, but it's always something that we've had in the back of our mind to drop her back sprinting.
Stall 1? You'd probably rather be the far side than this side, would you?
She's fairly versatile. I mean, like, you don't really like to get stuck out on a wing, but I think with her it wouldn't make much of a difference, to be honest. She's a gutsy mare and nothing seems to faze her.
And John Quinn, over the years, he's done some amazing things with dual purpose horses, etc. But I thought his handling of her has been immense. Well, I thought all last year, every time she ran, I thought she'd be well placed, she'd be vulnerable today, but she just kept stepping up to it.
Yeah, she climbed up the ladder.
Did she surprise you?
Yeah, she did, to be fair. I always thought she had ability. I never thought she had as much ability as she's gone on to show us that she has. She's a bit of a slow learner, and the boss just took his time, and she climbed her way up the handicap ranks, and obviously she's a listed winner. She's Group 2 placed, and it'd be nice to win a big one with her.
You've won a big one here, obviously, Duke of York and Safe Voyage for John. Ground, she's fairly versatile?
Yeah, she is fairly versatile. She's won on all types of ground, all weather as well, and nothing else sort of comes alike to her.
So how do you ride her? Just wherever you land?
Yeah, I think we'll just get her in a comfort zone wherever she lands, type of thing. Obviously, she's dropping back sprinting, so we wouldn't want to put the gun to her head and burst her up early, but I think she'll be finishing off strongly.
You've got brunch as well tomorrow for Michael Dodd's horse, who's been a really good top-end handicapper. You rode him in the Lincoln. The Lincoln was a messy race this year. You went no gallop. Yeah,
they went no gallop. And the race developed on the other side of where I was drawn. I thought he ran well in the circumstances. Backed that up with a good run at Newmarket and Earl of Sefton.
He could have done a bit more rain or not, really?
He probably could have done, but he has got a little bit of form. And to be fair, like, you can't knock York for the way they handle it. The ground is always in great condition. They always have a nice cover in the grass, and hopefully it should be fine.
And then after tomorrow, the big one, obviously Thursday, the Royal Patronage. What a star he was last year. What did you make of the Guineas this year?
I was really happy with his run the Guineas, actually. Like, he's finished 8th, but to do his own running, and then they came to me and got me racing, and to still be pitching 100 yards to go, I thought it was a good run. His work in the spring always suggested that we were going to be stepping up in trip, and I think stepping up to the 1.25 miles and beyond is probably going to be to his advantage.
And you're hoping that every year you come back here, York form very much holds up, and obviously what he done in Acomb will be to the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, exactly. Like, his Acomb win was good. He was a big price that day, and he's confirmed the form with those horses every time he's ran against them. So it was no fluke. And then obviously his Royal Lodge win was gutsy and hardy. So he's shown that he's got a great attitude. And now I'm really looking forward to getting back on board.
And in Newmarket, was he gassy early? Was he keen?
A small bit. But I think he'll be absolutely fine at York. Obviously, he's shown that he's got course form, handles the trap well, and sort of plays to his strengths.
And it's fair to say, with riding for Mark and Charlie, when he jumps out, you'll do whatever suits that horse. You don't have to go make. People sometimes pigeonhole, like, he'll make the running, that'll be it. But no, if you think he might just be better sitting second and getting him to chill a little bit, that's what you'll do. Yeah,
that's the great thing about riding for obviously Mark and Charlie. They don't tie you down to any instructions. They let you ride the horse off the way that horse feels, and just proves how many winners have had over the years that it works.
And you must be really happy the way your career started building now, isn't it? First Royal Ascot winner, obviously, with Highfield Princess last year, to come to your local track to have a ride in a Dante, that hopefully, if everything went well, could lead you on to an Epsom Derby. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I mean, it was a while ago now. I was champion apprentice in 2013, and I got injured the year after that, which sort of put me on the back foot. But it's nice that I'm getting some decent rides now, and a lot of the people, obviously John Quinn, main supporter, and Mark and Charlie are really sticking by me, which is good.
Absolutely. I rate you. Tom Stanley doesn't think you're very good, but I think he's a great jockey, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, if he can't hear me, the thing about JC, he overrated, and also he's not a very nice bloke, So what can you do? But good luck to him. King's Prince, these are Jason's rides. King's Prince 150, Mr. Wagyu 225, Highfield Princess in the 3 o'clock, and Urban Sprawl 5:15. Wednesday rides at York, and he's got, of course, on Thursday, amongst others, brunch and Royal Patronage in the Dante. Right, speaking of Wednesday, Dave Nevison stepped forward. I'm excited. We're in here together.
Tomorrow, yeah.
And I'm going to be your good luck charm for the...
As you usually are, Tom. I had a 16-1 winner on Saturday in the Victoria Cup.
Well, I wasn't here.
Do you know? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's why it won.
Okay. Go on, what we got? 3?
3 handicappers, 3 all-age handicaps, which I like to think I do okay on. Garcia will be favourite in this 150. Well, I'll be surprised if it wasn't. It's won its last 3, all on the all-weather, so it's actually making its debut on turf, but it's good ground. If it can't go on it, there's a problem. William Haggis, in brilliant form, always has a good record at this meeting. Last time out, it beat a horse who's subsequently won 3 on the spin. So it's got a lot in his favour, and 5 of the last 10 favourites have won that handicap. So it's not usually as open as perhaps it looks. The next
including, if I can, the last years for the St. Connections
as well, yeah.
St. Connections. Yeah. Go
on. Nomadic Empire, David O'Mara, sprinter, just got beat, unluckily at Ripon. He got messed around at the start. And he has to come through them, which is not always the way to win a sprint at York. But he's got a good draw on the far side. I think you want to be middle to far side, not right on the far side rail. He will get a lead from plenty of front runners over that side. The majority of the pace seems to be over on that side. He's been gelded in the off season. He really improved winning at York and get beaten by the shortest of distances in a good race here. He just looks to have so much in his favour. He hasn't got his normal jockey on. Jason Watson's unfortunately banned for the day, I think, but Neil Callan takes over, so I'm absolutely unconcerned about that. Highway Grey, it's a guess, but it's an educated guess. The horse hasn't run one since the spring of last year, been dropped in the weights, but both his runs this season, you'd have to think, with a critical eye, you'd think they look like warm-up runs for this race. And this meeting won't go by without an Easterby winner, probably of a handicap. And Highway Grey looks to, again, have a lot in its favour. It's £6 lower than his last winning mark and looks to have been warming up, to my eyes anyway, this season for a race at this meeting.
I bet he's delighted you said that. That he's there. Thanks, Dave.
He probably needed his last 2 runs.
Yeah, no, I'd say it, and he's in good nick as well, and he's got plenty of chances. So those are Dave's 3. You can get a recap of those on the website, amongst other selections, racingtv.com/tips. Right, we'll turn our attention to the Musidora tomorrow very shortly. Your chance to win the ultimate Derby Day package. It includes 2 Kazoo Derby Day tickets, a Racing TV subscription, and in order to watch Racing TV, you get a 50-inch television as well. It's all worth over £800, the ultimate Derby Day package. You can win it by entering now at racingtv.com/DerbyComp. Best of luck.
Paddy Power proudly sponsors the Dante Festival, and what a day of racing we have in store for you. And here's the York favourite, number 4, definitely bunching. And you can see why, Gina.
Just loves the big occasion.
Featurette stud, Gina?
Not sure, Matt. Unlikely to be wanted for breeding. Worthy favourite, Matt?
Definitely the favourite, Gina.
This Dante Festival, don't feel like a punter, feel like a favourite, with lots of great offers on the Paddy Power app. Log on now to find out more. Paddy Power.
At Racing TV, 100% of our profits go back into racing. Thank you for supporting the sport that we all know and love.
Here we are at the York winning post, where many champions have come through this post to win the horse racing race that happens here every year at York. Horses such as Frankel, Australia, of course, came through here winning. Mishriff came through with a big smile on his face saying, I've won this race, and it did, it won. There he is, see the stars. Apparently, that's them. Ah, Mother Nature. What is this thing here? Is it a ramp?
Yep, this is where the horses will arrive. The boxes unload onto here. Grass, so they come off gradually and straight onto the rubber and into the stable yards.
So what's the story of the grass? Why are they going there first? Why don't they just go here, straight through there?
Just a nice gentle run off. So no jumping off. Very good for 2-year-olds that have never been unloaded before.
I always thought they should put something like that, like in a pub maybe, where you walk in the door and you're just like,
you don't have to.
I'm here.
Also rolling out.
Exactly, yeah. Be the best you can be, Sean Fitzpatrick. I definitely agree with that one. 100%. Here we are, of course, with the great Frankie Dettori. Man Frank. And Ruby Walsh.
That's Owen Colgan having some fun around the Knavesmire for Paddy Power. The full video can be seen on the Paddy Power YouTube channels. He's done some other very good ones on there. There's a good one with Shane Lowry as well. So head to there for more of that video with Owen Colgan at York. Right, Musidora time. We're going to get stuck into this. Emily Upjohn is 8-13. Life for Dreams is 3-1. The Algarve is 8-1. Luna Dorada 16-1, and Ching Shi is 22-1. Emily Upjohn then, first of all, looked very good, Dave, when winning traditionally a very strong race at Sandown. She heads the betting here, and were she to win this, she'd probably cement her betting ahead of Tuesday at the top of the betting for the Oaks.
Yeah, she's 4-1. Tuesday, I think, has got the stronger form, which might seem a little unfair, given that this filly wins this by nearly 10 lengths. But I sort of don't like 10-1, 10 lengths winner of maidens in many ways. And the horse that was second has subsequently been beaten in a maiden.
Full of that star, yeah.
So I just, yeah, it was a case of Emily Upjohn first, the rest nowhere. She's done absolutely nothing wrong and absolutely everything right. But as yet, we don't know. And it's 8-13 in a Group 2, Group 3, Group 2, but in a Oaks trial. And I wouldn't be interested in taking it.
She's not floating your boat.
No.
There is depth elsewhere, isn't there? The Algarve for Edinburgh. Life of Dreams was a very
similar one, 4 lengths, was it?
Yeah, Newbury. So beat
14 rivals.
4-5 favourite on debut.
So clearly expected to be good. There has been a winner come from this race, although yet again the second has been beaten in a maiden. So again, it was a similar sort of picture. This horse from colours that can absolutely do no wrong at the moment has absolutely bolted up. And the Musidora is the right race for these type of fillies to meet, but nobody knows. I mean, there'll be people who do times and sectionals who know probably more than me, but I can, by the visual, I don't think there was that much difference between that and the Gosden filly, and yet one's 8-13 and one's 3-1. They've both got terrific pedigrees. They're from absolutely top connections, but they haven't got as good a pedigree as the Algarve.
No, also another last time out winner. She's a daughter of American Pharaoh who broke her maiden on heavy ground at Galway.
Yeah, but she's the dam won the Oaks and the Irish Oaks, so you can't get a better bred horse for this race. So I'm surprised. It's the exaggerated winning distance of Emily Upjohn. Now, you can't do anything other than the win by a furlong. But again, whether that means betting lightly raced fillies at very short prices, I don't think has made anyone rich over the years.
Okay, pretty conclusive with Dave's view on that. What does Ruby Walsh think?
Whereas the Algarve, who we haven't seen since Galway in October, beat Native Queen, who hasn't run since, but Himbuk too has. It went from Galway to Naas on its first start this year, where it was behind Tuesday, then was behind above the curve at Leopardstown, and then beat Artistic Choice at Tipperary on its last start. Now Artistic Choice had chased home, changing of the guard at Dundalk in early April, so I think the Algarve's form could be strong enough. I'm probably late to the Aidan O'Brien trial party, but I'm jumping on the bandwagon today.
And you can hear more from Ruby Walsh and other guests, more of his selections on the Paddy Power From the Horse's Mouth podcast, which is out there now. Ruby's selection, the Algarve for Aidan O'Brien. Sounds like Dave half agreed as well. Talking of Paddy Power, let's get back to York.
And I'm joined by Paddy Power with the Yorkshire Cup. Who you're not giving it to Mr. Gosden yet, no?
Not just yet, no. I'm sleeping with this now until Friday when I finally hand it over. I'm not sure who will be giving it to. The Poor Cup. It's going to get banged around a bit as well, yeah. But a bit of tradition here. 1990 is the first one I see on this, so it's old enough.
Yeah.
been through the wars.
It's great to have, on a serious note, it's great to have Paddy Power sponsoring here and being heavily involved this week, including the Yorkshire Cup, sponsoring a heap of handicaps as well.
Yeah, it's deadly. It's great to be here. And it's York, it's obviously brilliant crack, great meeting. Every time they race here, they get a huge crowd. The atmosphere is always good. It's kind of feels slightly more relaxed than some of the more southern meetings and that, like even with the crowds and that. So I think it's a great place to be involved. I've got some great members. It's funny, I've never actually been to this meeting before, but I've been to the Ebor, the Nunthorpe meeting, as I call it, many times, and I've always had a brilliant crack there. Some really terrible memories and amazing memories of York, you know.
When you say really relaxed, you've walked in tonight, there's about 6 people here, you're wearing your trainers.
Yeah.
Not a word said.
Not a word said. They're not white trainers though. It's probably okay.
No, they are technically.
There's a bit of white on them, yeah.
Lift them up there.
Bit of white, yeah, there you go. Jeez, don't throw me over the rail.
I'm not sure about the
socks. We're in the racing TV colours, you know.
Oh, good. You mentioned Ebor, obviously the Power family. You had some amazing days here.
We did with Soul Power, and I remember like one of my worst decisions ever was the morning of the Nunthorpe in 2010 when I decided just not to go to the airport and just not come over. And then Soul Power.
Why?
So I just didn't. I had young kids and babies and coming out of my ears and everything.
That's all the more reason to get away.
Yeah, I know. In hindsight, obviously, but I was too young then and too naive. And I didn't come over. Soul Power won at 100 to 1. He won the Nunthorpe, and like my brother was here in the betting ring behind us over there. He got a new BMW out of it. I was sitting at home licking my wounds, wondering why I didn't bother. But I came over many times before, and we always stayed across the track there. It used to be the Swallow Hotel, and I remember a few times like it would just start lashing rain the night before, and he needed it but not like the road. But he needed really good ground. And but he did. He won then really under the famous kind of Richard Hughes brilliant ride that time.
Genuine. It was like a furlong and a half down. He's last at 20 across the track, thinking, "What are you doing? Like, you're going to get jailed." And next minute he just got there in the line, and he knew him so well. He was brilliant on it.
There's a photo of I think both horse and jockey with their eyes closed going through the gap. You know what I mean? Just to get there. So that was amazing. So we had some fantastic days here.
How is he nowadays, the horse?
Oh, so far he's brilliant. We went down to see him last summer when we were able to with lockdowns and that, and he's with John Cullinane in Wicklow, which is just south of Dublin. And it's really nice because he's living in his best buddy now is Empirical Power, who was mum and dad's first ever horse. He must be in his 20s now, but the two of them are fatting around the field together. He wouldn't be winning any Nunthorpes now, I tell you. But
it's great that he's had a long retirement.
Stop, and he was straight over to mum. He knew her well now. He's straight over to her again, and she had all the sugar cubes and the carrots and all that kind of stuff. But
and I dare say she likes him a lot more than you.
Oh, well, you stop big time. Sure. The house is like a shrine to the horse. You can't see a grandkid anywhere in the walls. You know?
Fantastic memories. Fantastic.
Yeah,
memories.
it's brilliant. Yeah.
So this obviously you're going from 5 furlongs to the Yorkshire Cup. Why the Yorkshire Cup? There was a chance to sponsor that race.
I think it's a chance to sponsor, and it's a good way. It's a good way to get back involved. I mean, we're trying to do a bit more in flat racing. We've always been very active, like in sponsorship in the National Hunt Racing and a flat racing. We always thought that you get to Cheltenham and everybody kind of takes a big deep breath because you do so much preparation before that. But then the flat season kicks off and it kind of creeps up on you. So it's nice to get involved in sponsorship early in the season as well and try and kind of stamp our market and have a bit of crack. I mean, ourselves in York, so far we've gone on brilliant together. I can't see anything like that changing. Like they're a fantastic track to work with as well, and it should be a brilliant few days out.
And Stradivarius, every year he's eighth, first run back of the season.
Yeah.
Frankie, I was saying to William out in the track earlier, if you're with him or you're against him, there's always that part of the race where he comes off the bridle and he's beat. And as you're thinking that, he sort of changes legs and goes away. He's been some horse with the jockey on board.
Yeah, exactly. And funny, we were just saying, Matthew just saying earlier that if he could become the most ever horse in the Knavesmire this week, but
Copper Knight is the one who's
the one tomorrow. But the Stradivarius though, like with my vast experience of training horses, it must be hard to get an 8-year-old fit first time up, right? I mean, it's got to be tough for him. Like, he clearly can't be. Well, he's improving. Like, God help the rest of us, but he clearly can't be improving. So, I know Trushan. We'll see what the ground's like, whether Trushan's going to be here. But I mean, the O'Brien with the new kid in the black, Kripios, was very impressive last time at Navan. So I know it's a massive step up to take on Stradivarius, who's the proper king. But
I think that division, obviously, Subjectivist got injured after asking a couple of years ago, and he's out for the season. Be nice for a couple of new kids to come on the block.
I think we need it, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. I'm not saying I want Stradivarius beat, but at least have a good race and a good solid race. But he probably proper hero stuff. If he does win this at 8 years old, fair play to him.
Yeah, you'd have a Stradivarius in a pair of underpants and a hot air balloon flying over the Knavesmire or something daft, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it might be incontinent pants. He's so old.
True, always one step ahead. You'll have plenty of specials for us throughout the week, no doubt.
Loads of stuff during the week. So I meant to have learnt them all off for tomorrow. But we have, I think, the first race tomorrow. There's a money back special, as a free bet if you finish second, third, or fourth. And then there's extra place in 4 of the 7 races tomorrow. So whatever race you event, there's some sort of special offer there. I can't remember which ones they are, but
you've done no prep. You forgot it all.
I didn't do any prep whatsoever. Yeah.
No, you can tell.
Yeah.
Nor have I. Back to you, Tom.
That's how he rolls. Right, the Yorkshire Cup, the Paddy Power Yorkshire Cup, the guys have just touched upon that. It's got to be a big doubt that Trushan doesn't run with the ground as it is. There is a bit of rain knocking around tomorrow, but we'll see. It's great that Stradivarius is going to line up. They're currently 7-4 joints with Paddy Power, Scope 11-2, Tashkhan 6-1, Kyprios 6-1, Wordsworth 10, Search for a Song is 12s. They won't both run, their brother and sister, Search for a Song and Kyprios. One will go there and one elsewhere. 7-4 joints. How would you play at the moment, Dave?
I wouldn't back either of those two. I'd be. I wish I knew whether Search for a Song was running, because she gets the mayor's allowance this time against her sibling brother, and I really don't think there's anything much between them. But presumably she's a bigger price because the expectation is that Kyprios is going to take up the field. I think that run was significant. Tashkhan pops up and has got really strong form, but he's not as good as either Trushan or Stradivarius. So I think it could be an Irish winner, but I would be inclined to wait for the final declarations that come mid-morning tomorrow. And if Search for the Song was in there, it won't be 12s, but I'd be looking very quickly to see if I could nick some of that maybe double-figure price. I think she's a very fair price at double figures. If
Stradivarius does go on and win, he will be a hugely popular winner, obviously.
Absolutely,
Seems pretty obvious to say that. I remember when he won here at the back end of last year, and it was a phenomenal race, but it was just such a great atmosphere to see him back in the winner's enclosure. When he's had, 5 wins up in Yorkshire, he's just at York. He's hugely popular there. I think it's great for the game that he is staying in training, and while he's still running to a level not far from his best, and he's definitely not quite there, but they're going to carry on.
Just wonder as well whether eventually he starts to take a little bit of time. Midsummer, Ascot and Goodwood, I would bet might be his best 2 runs of the season, but he's got a tremendous record.
And the other thing is he's still in tyre, so at some point it's going to be at what point? Yeah, like you at York. At what point is he going to
I think Stradivarius will prove ultimately to have a better strike rate than I could ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Even on the Knavesmire. Good stuff. And Trushan, we don't know, do we?
No, he's got an exemplary record on soft ground, but he doesn't run on fast ground. So. If the rain doesn't come, and it doesn't sound like there's going to be much, so I certainly wouldn't be backing a 7-4 chance. I mean, Trushan is not a horse to back anti-post
on
prices.
Just good ground, who's the better horse, Trushan or Stradivarius? It's good ground, who's the better horse?
I think nowadays I have to think that Trushan might be going past him.
I'd just about agree with you. Right, there we are. Probably the last time we'll agree. Thank you for getting in touch with us. We've had plenty of tweets about your favourite Dante moment. Let's pick out Klaus first of all. You were right. Carlton House winning the Dante before going on and being... he was impeded. He'd also, I think, had a knock. There was a chance he wasn't going to run in the Derby by an horse around who should have never entered. All right, at least Simcock has admitted this 11 years later. Yes, he did a piece in the Post, didn't he? That was Carlton House back in a good while ago now. The year was around about 10 years ago, wasn't it? What about John Apac says Workforce beaten by Cape Blanco. Workforce then went on to win the Derby itself, and Cape Blanco didn't run in it. Workforce getting up to beat the rest of them, the pace angle in the Derby, but he was beaten in the Dante. And then we had a couple of shouts for Roaring Lion as well. Alan Green. Roaring Lion was my favourite. He travelled so well through the race, it was never in doubt. I knew immediately the course and distance suited him perfectly, and just knew he'd win the Juddmonte. And Anti-Post Flat said the same. Roaring Lion looked special that day in the Dante, and that was just the start of his rise to the top. There were a few of us that went up there for the Dante meeting itself, and Chris Dixon was one of them. We weren't working, we were on a bit of a jolly. It was great. And just about half an hour before the race, fancy anything in the Derby, Chris? He went, in the Dante, Chris? He said, no, not really. I can't really got an opinion. He got on his phone to Martin, his brother. 5 minutes later, he was out roaring Lion. That'll win the Dante. Throughout the whole race, go on, Lion!
I made the mistake of betting against a Dixon at Musidora yesterday. I'm not going to do that again.
You don't go rich doing that. Right, let's relive Roaring Lion's brilliant performance, the closing stages of it in the Dante.
Up the inside, Mildenberger's trying to rally again together there with Merlin Magic and Zabriskie. James Cook a little bit outpaced but trying to stay on. Spread right across the course in the Dante. Who's going to assert? Roaring Lion splits the field and comes between them and quickens up in decent style. It's Roaring Lion inside the final furlong of the Dante, who's putting daylight between himself and his rivals. He's up by 3 to 4 lengths, just edging left-handed, but he's going to run out a really impressive winner of the Dante. Roaring Lion outclasses them. Mildenberger's second, Zabriskie third, Merlin Magic in fourth.
Yeah, he was so good that day, and he was a very popular choice from you out there with your favourite Dante moments. Brilliant performance from Roaring Lion in that Dante. Right, Niall, back at York, your final thoughts?
Looking forward to, on a serious note, Tom, it's going to be 3 fantastic days. Obviously, Desert Crown's been the horse that everyone's been talking about for Sir Michael Stout. Big day for Richard Kingscote. It'd be great if he could go and win and sort of be a proper Derby contender. We'll find out all live on Racing TV the next 3 days. Nice mix of handicaps. Musidora tomorrow. We'll see the final decks at 10 o'clock for the Yorkshire Cup. Will Trushan line up? I suspect not, to be honest. I think it'll be Stradivarius and maybe Joseph's horse, and will Thunderous come back? He's a previous winner, obviously, of the Dante. He'll have a bit of work to do to know the colours off Stradivarius. But it's fantastic. It's always fantastic to be here. 18 race meetings. We get underway tomorrow and say all 3 days live here on Racing TV. Tom, can't wait.
No, great stuff. Thanks very much indeed. Dave, we can give our final thoughts ahead of the meeting. We're in here together tomorrow. I'm genuinely looking forward to it a serious amount. It's such a good race meeting, and you've got the Musadora tomorrow, but it's just the quality of the supporting races that make it such a good meeting.
Well, we've got the favourite for the Oaks. We've got candidates for the second favourite for the Derby currently. Both of them will be in different positions in the market by 3:45 on their respective days. So it's a fantastic day. I will be picking my way through the handicaps. I fancy my first 2 tips tomorrow.
That's the thing with that, right? With the handicap, you've got by and large big field handicaps. The biggest is the second race, but the Jorvik's a decent sized field as well. It's the sort of meeting you go into, you think, I could do pretty well tomorrow.
And there's been days that I have done, and there's been several days that I haven't, but you've got to be an optimist at this time.
Yes, I agree. Who's the best bet tomorrow, do you think, for you?
Well, I think the favourite will win the opener. Okay. Put punters into a fantastic frame of mind, and then we'll probably do it all back over the other 18 races.
Good. Good to know if the favourite doesn't win the opener, it's downhill from there. Excellent.
Well, we've got a lot on our side in that race, so we'll see.
This is what tomorrow looks like then. So we are on air at 1 o'clock, marking your cards. Gorham Park first race is at 1:35, York first race is at 1:50, and then we have Perth getting underway at 5:40. The racing at York finishes at 5:15 and 5:25 at Gorham. It's a nice little gap into Perth getting underway at 5:40. That is what it looks like tomorrow, Wednesday, 1 o'clock on Racing TV. Good. Dave, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't wait. I really can't wait now after doing this. I feel...
That seemed really sulky.
No. I just think it's actually given me a bit more buzz. I thought I'd be thinking by tomorrow morning the meeting was over after doing a preview, but no, it makes you look forward to it even more.
Good. That's why we do these things. Dave, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Hope you've enjoyed all that, our Dante Festival preview in association with Paddy Power. See you tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Bye-bye.
Golden Horn wins the Dante in great style. We'll be back to back Yorkshire Cups.